You know, when I look around at all the entrepreneurs who are grinding it out, spending 70 to 80 hours per week growing their business, you have to ask yourself the question, at what cost? Hi, my name's Tim Uchuk, and in this podcast, we're going to be exploring the tools, tactics, and strategies for crushing it and scaling your business without making the ultimate sacrifice of your time and freedom. Hey, what's up everyone? Tim Uchuk here. It's early in the morning on a Friday at the time of this recording, and I'm in town at the office in Edmonton for the week, and today is packed meetings and then flying back home to the island this afternoon, which I'm excited for. We're doing some pumpkin carving stuff at the time of this recording tomorrow, and then Halloween and all that good stuff. So I hope you can hear me okay. I'm in our Ford Transit van, which is all decked out with our Sortimo van racking system, so for like plumbers and electricians. So I'm driving around rather than renting a car, and I'm doing some promotion around town this week. But just on the way to the office, and wanted to share an idea with you all around where I think one of the main reasons why we struggle with delegating, empowering our teams, letting go. This is one of the major causes, I think. And so the mantra I want to share with you is whenever possible, you want to take away the gray. And so you want to make things black and white, because what I mean by that is, if things are gray, that means people need to make decisions on their part. And oftentimes this is where they're coming back to you and asking for advice or feedback because there's just too much gray. And so what you want to do, whenever possible, is take away the gray and make it black and white. And so to do that, I realized this, years ago, just because what I was doing just wasn't working. It just kept coming back to me. And I had this awesome epiphany. I can remember when I realized, and this is one of the reasons why I struggled with letting go in the first place, was that I just felt like nothing would ever get done my way. And I realized eventually that this notion that there are many doors to the same house. So what I mean is, if you're looking for a result or a solution, there isn't just one way to get there. And so the challenge is, within the context of, regardless of what business you're in, when I first realized this, I've talked about this example. I was building a car, so I was using this method that we now have implemented, and one that I teach, to set up self-managed teams. So how do you do that? How do you have a team that's for the most part autonomous, and they're able to actually, get the right work done at the right time, and efficiency, effectiveness, all that kind of stuff. How do you set that up? So what I realized when we were building the car is we use this thing called success criteria. And so all that means is, in order to achieve, in this example, building a car, we broke the car into, it was like 7 or 8 components. So we broke it apart into its components, and we said, in order to build this thing safely and successfully, these are the success criteria. So within each of the components of what makes up a car, the drivetrain and the chassis and the wiring harnesses, think of like 8 modules. All of these blocks make up a car. Within each of those, there were success criteria. So for example, passing an emissions test is an example of a success criteria. So as long as this thing, when it's running, it runs with whatever the PPE, the parts per million emissions standard is, as long as it can pass that, then we're good. We just got to make sure that we're able to do that. So that's an example of a success criteria. Yeah, and it's like when you look at crash tests, they have a rating system, which is a success criteria. So when I'm delegating or empowering my team, I will very often use success criteria. In other words, in order for this thing to be done successfully, these things must be true. And so I'll often specify, whether or not I want them to run it past me before, let's say we're doing like a draft of something, run it past me, or, get me a price on it. Don't just order it, come back, go get an estimate, and I'll give instruction on how to give that estimate. So what needs to be true? Well, you need to use this image, or you need to use this file, or you need to use this template. So that's the success criteria. Use this template. And then before pulling the trigger, tag me here and get final approval. So what are the success criteria? That as long as these things are true, this thing's going to be done, to 80-90% of your standard at least, as long as these things are checked off. So this idea of success criteria, when I realized that, I was able to kind of let go. Same with I remember the first time booking a flight, which I thought was incredibly complicated. But what I did was I now have a template with success criteria in terms of, okay, here are my preferred airlines, always search by it's bumpy here. Always search by the shortest route. Budget is under this price. So just as long as we meet this success criteria, I'm gonna be good. And then just give me 3 of the best options, something like that. So I hope that helps. And by using this method, success criteria, it just helps to take away the gray, make things black and white. And as a result, you're going to minimize as much as possible that back and forth, that boomerang, that thing coming right back on your lap. And it's just a great way to empower your team. They are armed with the right information, so they're not left guessing in terms of what you're looking for. And everybody's happy. It's a win-win all around. So I hope that was helpful when it comes to delegating, empowering your team. Whenever possible, take away the gray, make it black and white using a technique called success criteria. There are many doors to the same house. We're not the only ones that know how to do things, and you'd be surprised and amazed at the potential that your team has under the surface when you give them the right environment, the right structure, so that they can kind of be set up for success. So hope that was helpful. I'm gonna go and hit these meetings and then fly back home, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Hey, Tim Uchuk here, and real quick, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, if you could take a couple quick seconds to give it a rating, it would be very much appreciated. And secondly, if you're looking for more tools and strategies on how you can crush it in life and business, just head on over to bookwithtim.com, where I've put together a free case study which shows you how to unlock unprecedented freedom today by using the 2 power levers. Just head on over to bookwithtim.com. Until next time, wishing you success and freedom in your business. Cheers.